Welcome to This Week in Our Collective Heads. One of the things we wanted to start instituting at the end of every month is to talk about the previous games that come out free for PlayStation Plus and for Games with Gold, and to kind of do a wrap up, what we thought about them, and give you enough time, if you haven't picked them up already, tell you which ones you definitely should pick up.
Right.
And tell
we
you which
play
ones
the crappy ones, so you don't have to.
We do. So we're going to time these, so you'll get these towards the end of the month, so you'll get our feeling on them and get an idea, should I pick it up? And then, or do I even feel bad for not picking that game up? Yeah. We're going to tell you here.
Just as a suggestion, though, just go ahead and download them, put them in your download queue or your account or whatever. Add them because you might like them.
It takes a couple minutes. Just do it. It's on your collection. You don't have to download them then. You can just go to checkout and that's it. On both systems, you just check out for free and buy nothing, or pay nothing for free. Get the thing on your account. Just keep it on your account. Some of these games you may say, I'm not really interested in, and then later on it'll save you $10-15 later on.
Yeah. And the other thing is we've reached a point now where everybody has a backlog of games that they own that they have never played.
Yes.
And so honestly, now it's not even so much about the money savings or whatever. It's about the time.
Yeah.
How can I use my gaming time most effectively? And so we want the end of month roundup, the Gold Plus roundup.
Yeah, Gold Plus.
Gold Plus roundup.
Gold Plus roundup.
The Gold Plus roundup is going to be our way of saving you time as well as enhancing the time that you do spend with your games, because there's some of the games this month were not really worth your time. Don't bother.
Nope.
But there were a couple that are absolutely and definitely recommended by us. So we'll go ahead and get started on that with the Battlestation Pacific.
There's a lot of these to go through, so we'll kind of try to do them relatively quick. So Battlestations Pacific for Xbox 360. When I saw this being released, I then remembered seeing it at Walmart in their, it's not quite shovelware, but it's basically shovelware. I kid you not, it was for between $5 and $10. I think it was $5 in a giant bin along with the Wii shovelware games. And if you know what I'm talking about, that is dirty.
Ouch.
This game, I'm sorry, but it doesn't. I played it. It belonged there. I played it for you guys. The controls were crazy janky. When it comes to a game when you're supposed to, Grand Theft Auto did flying better than this game. Grand Theft Auto 5 did. The graphics are like maybe first or second year the 360 came out, that kind of version of 360 graphics. It's not polished. I don't know why this game was included in here unless they just needed to fill it, which is what I'm calling this filler. Don't feel bad about not grabbing it. If you're a really big enthusiast of aeronautics and everything, okay, sure, why not? But you're really not going to get a lot of bang for your buck on this game. I'm sorry.
Next up, we have La-Mulana EX for Vita. Just don't. It's a puzzle game. It's kind of a Indiana Jones side scroller. It's a long form Spelunky game. Looks like you have your whip and you're going after these difficult enemies, and there's some secretive mana elements in there, but it's mostly a puzzle game, and you're supposed to try to figure out what to do, how to open things, but the game does not communicate with you in any way to let you know how to do the things. And so I found myself looking up explanations, walkthroughs, things like that, and one of the solutions to the puzzle, because you're trying to open all these different treasure chests, one of the solutions to a puzzle was to open the chest on this screen. I needed to go left, up, over, kill 3 enemies in a certain order, and then step on a tile before going left, down, over, and then opening the chest. there's no way that I would. Yeah. I don't know how the first person figured that out.
There's no need for that.
Yeah, and like if you're going to give me a puzzle game and you're going to give me individual screens, have the solution be on that screen. Communicate with me. Tell me what I need to do. Yeah. It could have been an interesting game. The combat is actually pretty good. It's tricky, but worthwhile. But honestly, the puzzles, you're going to spend the entire time flashing back and forth between your screen and a walkthrough. And for a puzzle game, that's not the fun part. No. I want to feel clever, and I don't feel clever when I'm reading, somebody else's walkthrough of however the heck it is that they figure this out. So just don't worry about that one. And if you see it in any other form, don't worry about it there either.
Yeah, skip that one. So next on Xbox One is The Deer God. The Deer God was okay. You play a hunter who is reincarnated as a deer, and you're having to learn how to be a deer. It's okay. It's quaint. If you want to give it a try, it has some interesting elements to it, but it's one of those games where you kind of get the premise in the first 30 or 45 minutes, and that's about it. The graphics, it's a throwback 8-bit platformer, and it's not rewarding. It's a relatively quick game that isn't challenging in a good sense. It's quaint, it's clever in the idea, but don't feel bad if you didn't pick this one up. It's okay, but don't feel too bad if you don't give it a shot.
All right. Next up, we have Teslagrad for the PS4, PS3, and this one, if you are like. La-Mulana was supposed to be a puzzle game. Teslagrad is a puzzle game done well. It's got Tesla in the title.
It's got to be good.
And so there's a lot of positive, negative charges, and you attract things magnetically. And I found the puzzles interesting. The bosses were a bit strange, and then there's an ability called Blink where you flash a certain distance across the screen, and there was a lot of precision required on that, and it didn't lend itself particularly well because when you get to the other side, you still have your momentum, and so I found myself doing a lot of the same jumps over and over and over, just trying to do it precisely, and it wasn't particularly great. But the puzzles were clever. The enemies, I don't think you get weapons. Like you have to kill enemies with environmental things, and like I said, the boss fights were very interesting. But overall, I would say unless you are a huge fan of puzzle games and games that let you feel clever, I wouldn't worry about this one. But if that's your thing, this might be something that would interest you.
Yeah. So one of the other games that came out was Twisted Metal for PS3. It's the only PS3 only game that came out this month. If you didn't get to play this yet, it's really fun. If you played any of the other Twisted Metal games, it's almost as good as the one on the PlayStation 2. It's a lot of fun, especially if you're playing with friends. Especially that couch co-op on this is really a blast. I played this a few years ago as well when it first came out. It still has that same sense of humor and that same sickening sense of humor, but destruction, and it's a lot of fun. You're probably not going to put a ton of time into it, but it's definitely something to have for groups. If you have people coming over, it's definitely something to have in your repertoire of things to go around. If you don't want to just play Mario Kart, if you want to play another racer that's
with more explosions,
grab that. Have it in your toolbox for when people come over and hang out. One of the other games that came out was Grow Home. I don't know if you got to play any Grow Home.
Didn't get a chance. I've seen some.
So Grow Home, you play a robot who is sent to a planet to essentially grow this star plant, and you have to climb on you have to continue to like collect crystals and climb up on this plant to get it to grow and get it to find these energy sources, which are in these kind of floating islands. The one thing that I will say about this, I like the climbing mechanic on this. It reminds me of Shadow of the Colossus, except in this you actually have to tell it which one of your hands you're going to grab with. So you grab with your right hand, and then you have to, so R2, then L2, R2, kind of very similar to pedaling a bike in San Andreas. You have to time it the right way, though, otherwise you'll use your hand. You know, if it's hard to quite grasp it, it's going to take you a few seconds. So you can't, you have to kind of, you can't do your timing just automatically on it. And then you get little flowers to float in the event that you fall. The thing that kind of drew me back on this is, again, it's one of those games you're going to get the most out of it in the first hour or so. You're going to get the feel and the idea of it. It's fun. It's fun, and it's kind of cool in its simplicity. But one thing that I don't like is that it's, along with a lot of other games nowadays like Minecraft, your drawback to dying really isn't there. I fell from ridiculous heights and didn't die. The only time that I died in the entire game was I fell into the water, and then I couldn't get out of the water in time, and I drowned. And every other time I was fine, and I fell in the water before, into the sea outside of there, but hopped up, got under the water, got out of the water, got onto the land, and it was fine. But there wasn't really a drawback. And I know it's a really high climbing at some points, but I felt like that and a couple other glitches led me to think it could have been a lot better of a game, and it could have been better if there was more story to it. It's very, very loose story. It's just kind of play in this world. Check it out. It's a little more challenging for kids, but some maybe 8-10-year-olds might get a kick out of it. Check it out if you haven't already. Then
we have Xeodrifter for the PS4 and Vita, and I liked it. It was fun. It's got a lot of pieces of Metroid in it, like the original Metroid. But then there's also I'm not going to spoil it, but probably about 45 minutes in, you get a new mechanic, and then you start to notice something that had always been there. But you hadn't really seen it as something that influenced the game, and then suddenly, aha, this is actually part of the game. This is not just scenery.
Yeah.
And that was a really cool element. And if you take a minute to kind of analyze the screens, like the maps are fairly easy to read. The planets are arranged in such a way, because there's 4 stages, and you have to go to them in a certain order, and each time you get a power, you take that power, go to another area that unlocks a new thing. And so it was good. I really liked the music. The one thing that I didn't really like was that the boss fights were almost identical every time. And I haven't gotten to the very last boss. But like the boss fights were the same thing with maybe a slight variant, and that gets old pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But it is entertaining and fun to just sit there, and I think it'll probably take you 3-4 hours. And so if Metroid is something that you're particularly interested in, check this one out.
Definitely. You also had Crysis 3 for the Xbox 360. If you guys haven't played this game yet, it's one of the better graphics, one of the games that has better graphics on the 360. It's a shooter. It takes a little bit to get used to the idea and the way that you use your suit in the game. You have the special abilities that your suit has. If you haven't played the other games in the series, it may be a little hard to get into. There's some subtleties involved in the story, but if you don't care about that, treat it like Halo. and just go in and have fun. It has enough of a fun environment that you'll get a kick out of it. If you're still playing 360 and you haven't played this game yet, if you don't have an Xbox One and everything, grab it. It's really a fun time. I'd highly recommend it if you have it.
All right. And then the last PlayStation one is Super Time Force Ultra. It's on PS4 and Vita. Highly recommended.
Yeah.
I was mostly excited because it's a game that has Shuhei Yoshida in it, and he's an unlockable character. And the little traveler guy from The Journey is an unlockable character because, why not? But it took me probably about 20 minutes to actually kind of wrap my head around it because it's a Contra side-scroller shoot-'em-up, I guess from your perspective, side-scroller. And so what happens is you go through and you go forward and you advance, you kill guys, and then you get shot and you die.
Yeah.
And then time stops, you rewind back as far as you want, and then you start over again, possibly with a new character, possibly with the same character, and then you go forward again and figure out, how you can do better, how you can advance faster. And it takes a little bit to kind of figure the game out, but once you do, it is a blast.
Totally worth it.
And the humor in the game is really self-effacing. It's a completely self-aware game that talks about itself and the absurdities possible in time travel.
Yeah.
And it took me probably about 5-6 hours to beat. And there's a lot of extra things that you can get, but it's just fun, and I smile. And it has characters like Dolphin Lundgren, who is a dolphin, and each character gets their own special abilities, and you can use those abilities to save a previous version of yourself and then absorb their power.
Yeah.
And so you get 3 or 4 of those together, and then you've got a shotgun, full armor blast, homing missile, sniper through the wall shot in one character, and then you just go for it and blast everybody, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I would highly recommend it. Super Time Force also came out for Xbox, so if you don't have a PS4, I would recommend it as a purchase.
Yeah.
Because it's a game that lets you smile, and just it's so much fun.
You're gonna have a lot of fun with it, and
you're gonna have a good time.
Yeah, you're gonna have a good time, and it's worth it. It's definitely worth the purchase if you're on the Xbox. Speaking of Xbox, which to me I think took the cake when it came to free games this month, the Tomb Raider Definitive Edition on Xbox One. I loved this game when it came out on PS3 and Xbox 360, and then they actually released it on PS3. I want to say maybe 8 months ago they released the regular version on PS3. Now they released the Definitive Edition on Xbox One. I wouldn't doubt if they're going to do the same thing on PS4 in maybe next month or November. We'll see what happens with the new Tomb Raider game coming out. This game is phenomenal. The graphics overhaul on this is completely worth checking out. It's not a straight up port. The graphics overhaul on this makes it look very close to a current gen game. This is one of my favorite games in the past few years. It's similar. What they basically took Lara Croft and everything we liked about Lara Croft and gave it an Uncharted kind of feel. You get to see how Lara became the Tomb Raider and everything that she went through in the struggles to do that. Yeah, it's very much a character that isn't just a perfect, amazing hero. She doesn't know what she's doing. She has to learn and become the Tomb Raider and survive. And it's really definitely worth a check out, especially that it's free. It was something I was already wanting to have in my collection anyways. I have the regular one, but I wanted this one anyways. Completely worth it. Grab it now if you haven't already. And if you didn't, wait for it to, probably hit around 25. It's worth it at 25. Still probably worth it at 30 if you've never played this. but it's definitely something you probably want in your collection, especially if you like the Tomb Raider games. You probably already played it if you have. But if you've liked Uncharted and you haven't played Tomb Raider or any of that, this is a great first foray into the reboot of Tomb Raider. The new Tomb Raider's coming out, which if this is any indication of what that's going to be like, I'm buying it. It's going to be great. Next month's going to be really great too. So we're going to, that's kind of a really quick rundown of the previous ones. We're going to do also the games that are going to be coming out in October. We're going to do that next week. It's a little bit later, but there's not a lot coming out the first week, so we felt like we could pull it off there. We're also going to talk about the upcoming games for October in next week's episode, to kind of give you an idea of what's going to happen there. So what do you guys think is going to happen for, what do you think is going to be offered for the PlayStation Plus games? The games with Gold have been pretty much announced for the first half. The second half of Games of Gold will be coming out the second half. So what do you guys want for the PlayStation Plus or for the Games with Gold for next month? Is there something that you're excited about, something you think they should put in there that you haven't had a chance to check out, or... just tell us what you think you'd like to see on there.
Interesting.
Yeah.
They did the Grow Home and the Zombie Pirates or Ninjas or what zombie somethings. But like they had the voting last month. They haven't put that out this month.
Yeah, I don't think
I didn't think about that.
Which they did the last 2 months, right?
No,
was it longer than that?
Grow Home was the first one.
Vote was the first one.
Was the first vote. They announced it before, but Grow Home was the first one we voted for, and then they haven't introduced the other one. So
I'm guessing
that might have already been dropped.
Yeah, I guess I didn't like the. I didn't vote.
Nope.
I saw that there was going to be a voting thing, and I didn't do it. So did you vote? Did you want something that you didn't get? Do you want that next month? Tell us in the comments what you'd like to see next month, and again, what you like about the show, what you'd like to see us do more of. We're going to do the end of month wrap up as a regular thing, and we're also going to do kind of either the end of month or the beginning of the next month, talking about what's upcoming in the month that we're excited about and that we're going to be picking up as well. So that's it for this week. Thanks again for checking us out. Again, check us out on Facebook. We're at Facebook. We're TWIOCH on Facebook, on YouTube, everywhere but Twitch. We are TWIOCH Gaming. Come check us out there, subscribe, and get these videos as early as possible, and come watch us on Twitch and watch how horrible we are at games, and watch us show you how to be horrible like we are at games. Except
for Binding of Isaac.
Yes.
Starting this week, because I've done 2 so far, but starting with this next week, it's going to be more of a tutorial, because next month they're releasing the Afterbirth expansion for Binding of Isaac, and so I'm kind of getting back into the flow of things. And so I'm going to be telling a little bit, because there's several things in there that are not intuitive. Like I will teach you how to find secret rooms, how to notice guaranteed item drops, and how to weigh the risk versus reward. I've put probably 150, 200 hours into that title, and I love it. Yeah. But I understand that, especially right at the very beginning, it's a very intimidating thing, because it is brutally hard, and so, but it's worth it. And so if you want to see that, those are going to be going up on Fridays, because it's so family friendly and all, with the talking poops and the killing mom. So check that out if that's something that, if you've been intimidated by Binding of Isaac, maybe this will help you ease into it. Yeah. So, anyway. And I'll also be doing kind of a similar series. I'm going to show people, if they haven't checked out Hearthstone yet, I'm going to kind of do a video series for kind of Hearthstone for beginners. I was doing Metal Gear, but Konami keeps sending copyright claims and muting audio, even though it's completely fair use, and I'm really irritated about that. And I think that also it's not as fun to watch as some games. It's probably the
the best game of the year so far. But I'm gonna
watching a guy sneak around on his hands and knees.
Yeah, it gets a little boring. So I'm gonna switch. I'm gonna do Hearthstone for beginners. So I'll be doing episodes on kind of the general aspect of Hearthstone, and then also showing you the different classes and different strategies, or different deck styles, I should say. So yeah, tell me if you're excited about that, what you'd like to see on that, or in Binding of Isaac, or anything else you'd like to see us play or explain, or see us just cringe at. Either way, let us know in the comments, and we'll see you guys later. Have a good one.
Like sitting here, I never noticed how long your eyelashes are, but I'm sitting here watching you for like an hour. You have very pretty eyelashes.
Oh, I thank you. Thank you.
So like I just never noticed that, and yeah, I just needed to have that on record that your eyelashes are lovely.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I hope the camera's good enough quality to pick that up, because those eyelashes should not be missed.